Welcome one and all to another amazing night here in Tranquility.
We absolutely are in for a treat of a match here tonight, no question about it.
And the grenade from Pomku, eliminating everybody on the field.
And now between something as well is going to be a fly as and Death Block them, and it's going to be huge. Fighting three.
The double kill with the Bastion ulti? Alright, I see you guys.
For B-Well, look to find a stick there, finds the stick, they find two with it!
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
And Cam with the four-man punch off the map!
Experience tranquility.
This entire week thus far, teams have been fighting for the very last time to be able to secure their spot in the championship bracket, and today will be no different. This will be the last match before we set for the championship bracket next week, and is going to be a doozy. Hello everybody, I am Huntertain, here with Sariff over here on my right. I made that mistake of going this way last time. Happy I've corrected myself. So Sariff, starting things out here, how are you doing, and how excited are you for today's matchup?
I'm doing great. Today's matchup is definitely going to see who gets into the championship bracket. We're going to see how hard these teams worked and see how their efforts pay off going into this last rounds in lower brackets. And yeah. Wait, is it lower bracket for this one?
It is lower bracket, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So definitely a lot more pressure for either of these teams to get a win, or else they're eliminated from the tournament.
Yeah, and it's been a bit of a different story between these teams, like in terms of success for the overall season. If you want to look over at, at our first team, which we're going to have Phantom win, who overall between the two stages before went 7-2, so a pretty good record overall. Unfortunately, Omura not with the same luck on their side. They ended up going 4-6, but regardless of that, at the end of the day, like, it does matter to a sizable degree because it is clear that one team has been performing better, but right now, you can throw that seeding out the window. You can throw the past out the window, because all that matters is the next few maps that are here in front of us here today.
Exactly, and it really, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter like in regular season. Of course, you want to play. Yeah, you want to play for your ranking, but still, what matters is if you come out in the 11th hour, you'll probably be able to get to the win.
Yeah, like even just yesterday, we had the fantastic story of Luminosity, who was a 23rd seed team that nearly went and won their last matchup to be able to move on and make history. Unfortunately, that didn't happen yesterday, but we could see the lower seed make it happen today, and I'm curious to see how they're going to go in with this first map, which is going to be Nepal. Now, Phantom Wind being the higher seed, they are going to have that selection. That's why we're going over to Nepal, which this is a map that does tend to favor a lot of the heavy brawl style comps, but due to the meta that we are kind of still in, the Sigma Bastion May comps, or Bastion, or not Bastion, Sigma Sojourn May comps are still very active on maps like this.
No, for sure, and especially on Sanctum, playing the edge for the poke and everything else. The Sigma comp's gonna be very important there, but you could still see a Tracer comp come out on on Shrine especially, and of course the Rhine Sim strat on Village.
Yeah, because you're able to take quite a different angles on this map. Like I know this is a rather linear map, as most of them are in Overwatch, but you do have the opportunity to take the off angles as a Tracer or as the Sojourn. And that's what I'm looking forward to seeing, is like something different than the Sigma Bastion, because like we know, we've cast enough games to know that is the meta right now. That is what a lot of teams are running. I've been very grateful to not see it every single matchup, but you can't ignore the fact that it's the strongest comp right now.
Yeah, and just Sigma has so much ability to mitigate another team's Bastion. You're really just playing for shield break and abilities cooldowns, and I kind of want to see something a little different today.
Well, we definitely have the possibility with this being like such a brawl heavy style. I have seen like teams run a Reinhardt or an Orisa here, so okay, I love this. I love it.
Yeah. I like that.
All right.
Oh my.
Yeah, so we're going to see Phantom Wind come out on the Reinhardt comp to start up, but Omura going to be running that Orisa instead. These are going to be still very heavy brawl styles, but the difference is that Omura is not going to have nearly as much mobility, and you're going to be over on the Idioti instead of Phantom Wind, who is Lazy Turtle starting out on the Lucio.
No, both teams playing for something different here, but both looking to play their angles here. But we'll see with the Sim, how they get that repositioning quickly with their Sim teams.
Right now, you're set up on the point, holding the position to the best of their ability. They just want to try to let Omura come in and just end up building up their abilities. But that is a great way to start things out. The headshot from the Sojourn. Gonna start things out nice and strong here for Omura, who are just, laying claim for Phantom, who's laying claim on this point, going to get that first cap right now. Omura gonna have to try to retreat the best of their ability. Their mortality is gonna come up to make sure they stay alive. But right now, doing a good job of stabilizing, but that's slowly coming to an end right then and there. The Sim just having too much charge.
Yeah, and you can see how that Sim is just able to just pick apart with the damage Mei and Reaper and Orisa without a shield to mitigate much damage. And here we see them swapping off to the Rhine. And it's definitely going to be good to help them focus down that Symmetra.
Yep, so we're going to see them take this angle over here on the top right this time around. So likely going to be setting up to just simply drop down on the right side, set up a Mei wall to try to cut somebody off as looking for that wall as we speak. But don't want to waste too much time here. We do want to make sure you're precise with how you set up, but that percentage is going to keep ticking away more and more. You're not going to have as many opportunities if you take too much time with it. So we do see them pressing slowly up on the point. Just again, we're just waiting for the opening to come through. We are going to see the soldier come out, going with that overclock, trying to find a pick to be able to stop this fight before it even truly begins. Just trying to grind away at that shield, getting one extremely low. The Shatter gonna find some receipts, getting rid of 3 members, clearing out the rest. One survivor trying to get up with the Sim TP, trying to chase them out. It's looking like they're not going to be successful though.
Yeah, and with that Shatter creating all that space for Phantom Wind, they were just able to clean them up relatively easily. And going into this, and we see Phantom Wind has a lot of advantage with window and wall, and they can just play to poke out with that window at first, and then split with the Sim wall right when Omura is engaging the point.
Omura is going to have that Mei freeze as be the biggest component of this matchup, and it's what they're going to need to use to win this fight. We're going to see it come out the gate here, is trying to freeze the Rhine. It is going to freeze them, but the beat is going to come out to be able to keep them alive, and now it's going to be the Shatter coming through Omura. Gotta make something big happen. It looks like it caught onto a member in the back line, looking to try and find the fall, trying to come together. Savas trying to pick up their own. Omura likely going to be taking this fight, just had to clear out the last couple members, just committing that stall, but the 99 is going to be there regardless. So the cap is going to come through for Omura, who has to expend a couple of ultimates to win that fight, but it's more than worth it to keep the round extended.
No, I was a little concerned with them swapping up their heroes so much with Bastion and Kiriko coming in. But we just see that I think that the Sim wall from Phantom Wind was just a little bit mistimed, and could have been timed a little bit better to help mitigate some of that damage coming in from the Bastion.
Yep, and that's speaking of mitigating damage, that's one heck of a way to do it right there. Phantom Wind just gonna have to back out entirely. Didn't even have the opportunity to even engage in the fight.
No, and that's an effective way to stop the fight before it even happens.
What they're gonna try to set up this time? Likely just gonna go that same exact way into the top right, honestly.
I don't think so. Play to the strength of the Bappin. TP into the backline coming here.
Yeah, it's pretty smart overall. They're sending the window as well. Ends up going to work out very well right now as we start seeing the picks coming through Phantom Wind. They end up losing both of their supports at the end of the day. Omura, once again, coming out on top, and that top is just going to keep ticking away more and more. And I don't know if Phantom Wind has the opportunity to fully get back to this point.
No, I'm not sure. And that window by the BAP on Phantom Wind really helped to split up the team and keep that Bastion in the corner, afraid of the poke damage.
Yep, this is going to end up really being the final fight that's going to decide this opening round. We see that Shatter, nice and ready to go. Phantom Wind got my sling habit. The Shatter comes through. It catches a couple in the back, and the Fire Strike finds dividends. 2 different people caught. The final blow going to come through from the Bastion. These combos just end up being used aggressively, and now we're going to see Omura settle nice and comfortable on this point. Phantom Wind, I don't think they're going to have the ability to retouch this fight. Omura just pressing up just to really try and make sure they can't touch. We're here to see that final pick to make sure they cannot TP onto the point. So Omura Esports coming back from that 99-0 deficit to take this first round here on the Paul.
No, and that was a really good retake from Omura. And it might have been done something, in fact, you jinxed it a little bit coming in. Maybe you should jinx it for Omura so we get a third map on this one.
I'll try my best.
No, but coming into the map here, we're gonna see very similar comps, except one with the Alargi and one with the Bastion Bappa Lucio.
Yeah, we're kind of just going to see them just match the Rhine this time around, so I'm very excited to see what they're going to be able to do with this, but both the teams likely going to do with the same comp of just TP.
They're pulling out the nuclear option.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
We'll see how the very pokey style plays against this brawl. But if they're able to focus a lot of damage onto Phantom Wind and just get all the resources out, especially Immo, they might just be able to win this.
Yeah, Omura Esports is going to have the advantage of having like more damage out the beginning of the fight, but Veneno's big asset here is the fact that beam is going to get more charge and more damage over time. So Phantom Wind want a slightly longer fight than Omura does. Omura just wants to come in through, use their cooldowns, find a pick right out the gate. They're going to lay claim on this point for the time being, but your loser Reinhardt's going to be incredibly tough to try to do that, especially when you get that 2K nade on top of it. Omura Esports not wasting any time taking back this point.
And we can see there how they just, disassemble them once Phantom uses their cooldowns. Brawl relies a lot on using your cooldowns effectively to get kills, and not so much for sustain, as a poke comp can use their abilities for.
And now we're going to see Omura just sitting up on this high ground for the time being. It's honestly really nice because you have the ability to see where they want to go, as the team is going to go from the side. And now Omura, now in a situation where they're going to have to drop right into them or just simply give up the point. And for now, they're going to be barely clinging onto it. Omura getting closer and closer to be able to get that win, with the point going to flip over without too much instant sub, eventually going to drop. So Omura likely just in a situation where they need to die quick, escape with their lives. They're going to do just that as Phantom Win. They'll securely set themselves up on this point and find a couple of late picks in the process as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you really want to do things, is you just need to get a little bit aggressive, and just, if they split like that, their poke, you just pick them apart because they don't have the sig to help keep them alive in that scenario. And you can't really sustain yourself, and you can just take points and rip it away.
I see Phantom will be playing this a little more aggressively. They're not going to give Omura the chance to move on to the point regularly. They're just going to be pressuring them up top left right here. So Omura likely going to make an audible, potentially drop down and just make the TP over the point, or just make the transition over the point. But we're actually seeing the commitment instead. Omura going to go in with that Captain Sun. He's going to catch a couple people in the back. But that ends up being a good thing overall. We are going to see the ult through is going to get rid of that Kiriko. So now Omura's once again in a really bad position here. I'm not going to go out of my way to caster curse it, but they're going to have one more fight. They're just going to have that Kitsune rush and, potentially that flux as well.
Yeah, and I would just do your best to get positioning on the lower point, use your Kiriko rush, and just keep going at that.
So with that final fight again to activate that window, going to start out that fight right now, and already the back and forth beat eventually brought in that City Rush, paying off for the time being, but they are going to be losing the Kiriko directly after the fact. And the biggest thing right now is seeing the Rhine still alive, still holding on to that Shatter, going to send it, the nice little finish here to send the Bastion over to the afterlife this second round, securely going over to Phantom Win. No 99-0 to deal with on the comeback. They just secure it right here, nice and easy.
Yeah, and we can just see how that Brawl comp is able to just dictate how Omura is wanting to play. And honestly, I think Omura should have swapped to a Brawl comp of their own just to even get out of choke.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. But, things are going to have to be settled right here as we're going to be going over to our third style map, which is going to be, of course, Sanctum, which this is the one map where I think things are going to change around a lot. I do see the Sigma coming out from Phantom Wind, I believe. Omura, though, opting for this Ramatra style comp. This is a comp that is still equally as brawly, but you can still kind of poke out with it as well, so it does have some of that advantage that Sigma has.
Well, yeah, it does have a lot of the mitigation abilities that you can play around the Bastion with, and it allows you to get a little bit more aggressive and be able to take positions a little bit easier than a Sigma.
Yeah, the important part right here is Veneno going to be setting up this TP. I'm wondering where they're going to want to go with this, as we're already going to see them taking control of this middle ground over here onto the staircase. So for the time being, they're just going to be holding this to the best of their ability. Omura is the team that needs to come into them and make that next move. So right now, all Phantom Win has to do, sit back, wait for somebody to be out of position and TP on them, or just let Omura walk into them and get burnt away. But that's exactly what happens right there. Rick is going to be the first one to drop. When you lose your Bastion like that, you lose so much damage output. And now we're to see Veneno just move in with this beam to try to get as many picks as they can. But Omura, to their credit, doing a good job of staying alive.
Yeah, and there they just kind of have to get out. But honestly, I would like to see a Lucio for this comp if they're going to run their mantra. Oh, yeah. May goes down in that fight. But it's just, a Lucio is going to help you a lot better get past the Bastion, and especially when they're able to just walk up with their own Lucio and get better position. Yeah.
That's just a devastating late pick right there. It's not even, I don't even know if I would call it a late pick. It's just before the fight began in the slightest.
Well, I mean, there's a period of time. It's like the pre-after fight pick.
We're going to see what they do here. They're still going to have that window for this next fight now, so likely going to be setting up on the other side as they make the rotation over Phantom Wind. Remember, they still have that TP, so if they want to meet them on the rotation, they would 100% have the ability to do so, and they definitely have the ults to do so as well. Still 3 sitting in their pocket. Omura really only sitting on the 1, but they're coming up to quite a lot, as we are going to see it come up from the side of Phantom Wind, trying to catch Omura out eventually. Going to get rid of a lot of their the pylon and the immortality build, but all of Omura is still alive. As this is the fight you need to be able to commit and find yourself some pick, and that wall going to be very useful at kind of negating the captive sun that, you know, did catch a couple of people. But at the end of the day, it's going to be for naught, as Omura is just in a really awkward position right now where they're not able to die very quickly. They're just trying to take this fight on the point, but they're just slowly bleeding out more and more. Eventually going to lose their Ramatra. This is just a rough situation for Omura.
Yeah, and that Simmel is very well timed, and you can see just how much it can mitigate from a poke comp if you use it well. And it just led to a situation where Murad just had to piddle out and die and give more percentage.
So now Omura just got to set up for the ability to be able to touch this point. And we're going to see the Flux come out just to try to secure that nobody can touch this point. Going to bring up a couple of different members. Slam down. Nobody dead quite yet, but Phantom's concern is trying to stop them from touching this point. The Ramatra eventually going to be able to find the touch. And we saw what? Oh, okay. You have just decided going off the edge is your best priority. That's unfortunate. But not unfortunate for Omura, who's trying to turn this fight back around. We're going to see it so far, trying to survive as long as they can, and the flip came through, so that's very nice for them. But Omura still in a really awkward position, but maybe they'll have the opportunity to settle here.
No, and that was a big boot by the Lucio onto the Sigma. I thought he was going to survive that.
Yeah, I definitely thought so as well, but it ends up working out well for them, and now Phantom Wind just really going to try to be aggressive with this Ryan more than likely. They're still going to have Ricky going to have Mortar Strike going to come through, looking for those supports. We're going to see that beat come out on the side of Phantom. They want to get aggressive, and when it's right here and now, getting rid of the Ryan, definitely a good first step to doing so, just draining away at the competition. But you see Omura, you see Ricky over there on the side trying to make the difference right now, finding 2 of their own, tying things up, but they just don't have the heals around anymore. And unfortunately, going to be sent off the edge there. Lazy Turtle just really sitting by, waiting for that one. And now we just have the Ryan trying to come back. They have the damage. The Immortality Field does come out to be able to keep them alive temporarily. But still, the Ryan is able to find a ton of value just by simply staying alive and swinging away the hammer. And now they have to hold up the shield just to try to contest on point for as long as they can, but eventually going to be burnt out. There is no beat in the world that is going to save a Dan Reinhardt, and now it's just a trickle-down effect. Omura Esports not able to make it back to the point, nearly pulling it back, but Phantom Win gonna come away here with the win on Nepal to go up 1-0 in the series.
And that was a really strong rotation by Phantom in that last fight there, trying to mitigate their Reinhardt brawl advantage and making sure they play to their strengths, and we saw that, and it led them to win the match.
Yeah, and Phantom Win, you do see kind of like the slight change of style, but in fact, we kind of saw that from Omura Esports as well, because I really don't hate their Ramatra style. I think it's a really good style if you know how to play it, but it didn't feel like they got momentum on their side until they won that very last fight at that 99% mark. And even on top of that, that kind of starts with the fact that, you know, you kind of have the boop come through. Like, I don't think if, you know, you boop the Sigma off the edge that you end up winning that fight. So I don't know. I love the comp, but I don't know if I like the way that they played it necessarily.
Yeah, they need to play a little bit faster, not so much as a pure poke comp, but really just taking space away from Phantom Wind and just essentially moving up with your abilities as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's what we see next, but you know, it's going to be a hybrid map that's going to be up next. Omura Esports is going to have the choice, so we'll figure that here in a second. But kind of with what we had in the pool thus far, there's a decent little variety of what we can run here. Especially a map like Hollywood comes, for instance. That's not the pick yet, we don't know, but Hollywood's just the example we're gonna throw out there. A map that isn't as reliant on the Sigma style comp. You can still run it if you want to, but you know, we will see a lot more of a pokier style. Sometimes you might even see a dive style, and I know dive really sucks in this meta, but you know, it's one of the couple of maps in this pool right now where we could potentially see it.
Yeah, and Hollywood, I would say Hollywood does play a little bit better for Sigma, especially first and second points, at least on defense side. But but honestly, on third point, it's really just a mix up on how well you've been doing and what swaps you need to make. But Sigma is definitely pretty strong on the first point from a defense POV, especially with characters like Ashe and Hanzo and Bastion.
Well, shoot, it actually ends up being Hollywood. Well, I'm just calling stuff accidentally today, I guess. I'll take it.
No, what's really happening, you just paid off one of the people to tell you what maps to pick.
We can't talk about that on screen.
Oh, you're right, you're right. Oh, you're right. Oh, no. My bad.
One thing we won't leak, though, is the script to this match, because we're going to put that securely in the vault for nobody to see. We'll sell it in the future, but just...
Oh, I thought it was 5-5. We're gonna get the most impossible match today.
Oh, if only. But well, listen, Omura does kind of have the chance to turn this around because it is going to be a bit of a different style overall. I still think, like we said, the Sigma is quite viable, but I'm really excited to potentially see a D.Va come into the mix. She's very strong, especially when this is a map that has a lot of high ground, and with D.Va having a ton of vertical mobility, you do have the ability to kind of contest high ground just on the... I had a different analogy, but at a snap, you're just able to jump up on the high ground and contest it, so a really good character to have in that situation.
Yeah, definitely. And you're either gonna have to play hard with a Lucio, or again, use the D.Va, or even... Yeah, I definitely say D.Va because of Bastion, but definitely a fast comp in order to take high ground and then take a point. Yeah.
So we are half correct. Let's go.
Oh, let's go.
Running the D.Va with the Echo and Ashe style. So I'm trying to see, because Phantom wins since they had to pick on which side they wanted to start on. I imagine they started out on the defense.
It looks like a Sigma. Yeah, Sigma.
So the Sigma comp, I mean, we know how the Sigma comp is going to be played. They're going to play very securely on this high ground. It's going to be very tough for Omura to be able to push this. In fact, Omura's comp, I almost kind of preferred a bit on the defense, where you kind of set up kill boxes between the D.Va and the Ashe and the Echo. So now, I don't know.
I think I like this in Phantom Win. They have a lot of just pure just damage coming into that choke, and honestly, they might just be able to squeeze out the D.Va from mech and just keep her perma on lockdown.
The one difference with this, which is actually going to kind of play into Omura's, favor here a little bit, is that Phantom is not running the Maid. They're opting to do the Sojourn, which you might think, why is that a negative? Well, that's because it's going to be a lot easier for the D.Va to be able to eat away at the Sojourn's damage rather than the Maid, because the defense matrix, you cannot eat through this little ice beam that is just shooting into you constantly. But no, you can do something, but you can't do anything about it getting shot in the head. Unfortunately, the Echo going to be going down first for Omura. No choice but for Omura to now back out. And just like that, you have the D.Va out of mech. They can do a little stagger here and there, and I wouldn't be fully surprised if they just went back and just did the natural remech and stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, Omura's options here, they're either going to have to play 4-poke, which is going to be a little hard with BAPR heals, or just play and get nano and just get positioning on them. Because you really need to be splitting up and demolishing this comp as much as possible.
Yeah, so right now, as they're set up once again, Sav already very close to that Bob already, which is very nice to have because the Bob is going to be able to contest point. There goes that little percentage, but we do have that res coming through. That is the usefulness of having a Mercy on your team, so they should be able to still set up the Bob forward, despite as long as they don't end up dropping again. And so now we're going to see the Bastion form be used. They're going to get slept temporarily, so now they're going to have a really big ability to push in here with that form being out, so now they're going to drop the contestant onto the point. Eventually gonna have to see the Sigma drop down to contest it. We're gonna see that here in a moment. Looks like we have. So contestment going on. Just looking for the right moment to be able to send out this Bob. That nearly doing too much damage. It's gonna be a nice shot coming through. Nice for the DPS to come through, get rid of the Bastion. A ton of damage going to be taken out as we see the Nano on top of the D.Va. Just trying to burn away. If they find one more target, the spike could be as good as theirs. But they have to come together on one target now because Omura, single copy out on the Bastion, they get the ult out for a moment, but I don't think it did any damage for it. But damage is really being done by the D.Va here in the back line, who has helped secure so many kills. Omura Esports should be able to cap this first point with no more issue.
Yeah, you can see the effectiveness of why Ana is a very strong character. She has a small ability that is able to cancel out every healing. I'm not sure if people know this, but it basically cancels all healing. You just split people off just like that, how we can see. And they're playing the D.Va to great effect here.
Yeah, it's working out really well. So now they're gonna have the we see the Widow come
almost a
out.
solid one.
Oh well, Sal, that's not exactly what you want to have happen there in the front line. They are gonna get res though once again. The Mercy paying in dividends right now, making sure Sav can just come back into these fights every single time. Right now, just trying to avoid the headshots, as you're kind of gonna see Omura just get this cart pushed very slowly and securely. Just play over on the side as we already see the flux come out. That's a lot of people in the flux. Mercy going down first, and that's going to secure a big old fight win for Phantom Win.
Yeah, and...
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Oh,
there you go.
There's the stagger. You can see why Sigma is just so strong. Just able to pick up your entire team. Just deadlift your team into a win.
Yep. You know, we get that out right now. Omura gonna have another chance to be able to set up here. They still have quite a bit of time behind them, so no reason to panic quite yet. Likely gonna still kind of send a little bit of pressure on that card as we, well, the res has to come through once again. Again, we're in a scenario where people get picked off very early in these fights. They have to use the res before they even fully engage. We're gonna see that come out. Gonna catch a couple of members of Omura. The remake going to be committed to this fight. The very bright side of it is going to catch somebody and force the rest of them off the high ground. So now this is winnable. And we see this so far going back into the favor of Omura. Well, actually, favor is right now. Like you can see right now, Lazy Joe's just trying to survive over there. I'm not seeing the right name. I've gone a little bit of crazy cuckoo, but we likely are going to see finally some more progress from Omura. Oh boy.
Yeah, and quite an active fight there, but you see Omura looks like they're coming out on top and using only the D.Va mech bomb. It's pretty good. And should set them up to use Bob to recontest and Echo to copy probably the Sigma. Pick coming out from Ash here.
Yeah, that's a decent little trade right there, though. But right now, you just have Sav just free-firing from the high ground, flying into the pick of their own. Likely going to be committing Bob here in a moment, but no, doesn't need to. When you hit a dynamite like that, you don't need to do that. So now, Omura should be able to just put 3 on this point, and it should be really difficult for Phantom Win to recontest. And in fact, I think they're just going to go set up for 3rd instead.
Well, yeah, as we see there. Who needs auto-aim when you have aim? Like, who needs the Q button when you have left mouse button?
Has both of their DPSs nice and ready to go, so this could be a bit of a role for them in the process that they have the ability to kind of use these. As Ricky gonna head over to that Sigma for the time being, just try to output enough damage to be able to get that ultimate. As we're gonna see a nice little trade there in the back. I'm not sure if they got the they just got the bomb kill again. Again, this is what's happening right now. The team is just getting a lot of bomb kills without putting a whole lot into it. As we're gonna see Ricky able to do a little bit of efficiency on the Sigma, but not enough to get that ultimate and put it to effective use. But despite the fact, we've been having progress on this card the entire time, rounding around the first corner, so it's gonna be down to Omura to see if they can secure here. But no, your Mercy's down, your biggest healing output is down the drain. Your best case is try to get out with your lives, but that remake is just gonna be a little brutal.
Yeah, just a little brutal, but we can see how well they did to keep that front line and keep Phantom Win from pushing up at all. And we can see how much card progress it got them, and should give them an easier defense, even if they can't full cap.
Hello? What? Uh-oh. What? Uh-oh, that, well... they're still alive. Ever see the Bob come out? I'm not sure what happened, but they lived for the time being, so hey, why not? But the Bob is in a really weird spot, actually. It gets dropped way back there. Not intentional, of course, as we're going to see the Captive Sun come out as well, trying to find members. It does find a couple as the Nano's going to come out on top of the Ryan Sav. Managing to find the pick over on the Gidgee, still surviving. As you can kind of see, the Sports is trying to rally around that window, try to make some impact. This Flux might be the very last thing to try to keep them in this for Phantom Win to try to commit a hold here, but right now there's so few members left on that point. They eventually find a pick, but Omura looking to secure this with some time on the clock. Just have to find the last couple of members. The Res eventually going to come through, but the Dragon Blade has found one of its own with a Fire Strike, getting rid of them. It's down to the Ryan, just keeps swiping away on the point, trying to get rid of the last couple of members. Omura Esports trying to secure this cap, but it is, oh my god, they just keep coming back. The solo shot to settle it down. They're one, but eventually get taken down. Such an exhilarating fight. Omura comes so close to getting that cap.
Oh, a new boss has appeared for sure. As that Reinhardt comes out swinging, but just a last-minute save from Fan to win. They may be able to push it into overtime with that saving Reinhardt.
Yep, and right now, Omura did kind of like throw everything in the kitchen sink at that last fight, so Ultimate's going to be online for this fight, but we do see...
A cheeky visor coming up.
Visor could be the difference between a close hold and a full cap, so it might just really come down to this. Likely just going to let them come out a little bit and then set up the visor likely on the high ground or set up in the back. Actually, they're going to get pressured out and have to use it right here, so just looking for find their first target right now. Everyone's going to stay out of the line of fire, except for your Ana, one of your bigger healers right now, but the trade is going to be confirmed directly back. The biggest problem for Omura is when you lose you lose the Ana so early on, it's so difficult to stay alive in that fight, and it just ends up really hurting Omura. They come extremely close though. They come as close to a full cap as you possibly could get. A lot of distance, not over quite yet. You still have a lot of room to work with.
A little unfortunate for Omura losing that second to last fight there, but still not bad push at all. And we did see a little bit of caster target calling as the Soldier Visor came out. Just at the last second, as best to run out, got the Ana pick, and they were just able to collapse on that with only Mercy heals. There's not much going in.
Yeah, sorry. I have the in-game leader PTSD trying to call things out. It kicks in very randomly, but someone's hopefully making those calls in the Omura's PC. I imagine somebody is.
No. They're just listening into production. It's okay.
They're just watching it on prod for the target calls. All right.
Coming out here for defense, looks like a Bastion Ashe Echo comp. So it looks like they're probably just going to try hold corner or high ground drop down and hold corner. But Phantom Wind coming out with the Widowmaker.
Yeah, I think Choco is just trying to have a lot more survivability. Like, you have a decent amount as D.Va, but the problem is you don't really have as many cooldowns to facilitate the ability to stay in one spot and survive. Like, the D.Va has the DM, of course, and it's great, but the moment that runs out, you are a sitting duck, and your only option at that point is to leave the area. Orisa, though, you have the gold form. You are able to spin the javelin. You're able to spear people away. You have a lot of abilities to stay up for a very long time in one spot.
Sure, but we'll see how well it fares against Sigma, and make sure it denies all the abilities that Orisa can.
You have to see. Sigma is kind of a bit of a counter to Orisa, but so long as they play this properly, that's not proper, unfortunately. Though it looks like we're watching Proper's POV right now. They're trying to bring the res through. Unfortunately, not going to be effective. Finding a headshot as well, looking for that third one now. But for Omura, they're going to be wiped away. And just like that, the DPS of Phantom Wind putting in absolute work, going to secure an extremely fast cap here on point 1.
Well, from that footage, you could suggest Widow as a counter to Orisa. But anyway, it's just... Yeah. Ooh. Sombra pick might be big if they play off of the axe and everything else, but Phantom just has a really strong ability just to split and create angles, especially with the Genji able to finish off any chunks the Widow hits.
Yeah, I'm at a point where I'm already not liking the Orisa. I understood the reason behind it, and it's a good reason, all things considered right now. But now you're going to be in a really tough scenario where, as the Orisa, it's going to be really hard to play the slow ground, but Sav does manage to find the pick onto the Genji, so that is going to secure them a tiny bit of relief. Phantom Wind can make sure they have all 5 members before they commit to any kind of big push, but that's unlocked.
Yeah. No, and you can see, for right now at least, the Sombra is working, but the Phantom does seem to be coming up on strongholds here to help them out.
Yep, Choco going to be the first one to go down. Veneno finding their own dash on us, and now Omura. Once again, in this scenario where you just have to back up and survive, and this is once again where I kind of bring up that I don't like the Sigma pick anymore. I think it is going to be really smart to go over to that Sigma, especially when the Sombra, doing a little bit of work, but unfortunately it's just not getting the value you can with the comp that they're on, so...
Yeah, and Hollywood is defined by the high grounds on second point. And they just sort of gave up that advantage without their tank on high ground. And it would be nice to see them swap the Sigma, but it might work for third point or just a little roundabout here when they're holding close second.
Yeah, Yeah, but the big other thing right now is that there's so much time on the clock still for Phantom. And right now they're going to bring it together. If they get rid of that Mortality Field, it could be big. It manages to find one, but the Blade's going around in the background right now. They eventually managed to burn them down as well. This fight's still super winnable for Phantom Win. You have a couple low members, but right now, Omura Esports aren't together to be able to solidify on one target together, so now it's a 4v3 situation. Omura Esports have the ability to commit if they want to, but it's going to be a really risky call.
Yeah, I would say just keep yourselves to third point, get out, and just, come back on third. But maybe if they're able to contest here, it looks like it.
Yeah, they're going to test for the moment, but again, it's just the DPS of Phantom Win. They're helping find these picks. The dash is just... The dash is so far on Veneno has just been fantastic thus far. They know exactly who they need to go for and when to go for them. So right now, a massive time bank for Phantom Win as we are going to see the swap over likely to the Orisa or the Rhine. Rhine's going to be the selection for Phantom.
Reinhardt Sojourn. Okay, yeah, definitely. But we can definitely see from the side of Phantom Win that Genji Kiriko putting in a lot of work to isolate and take down targets in the backline. But we do see Omura swapping onto the BAP Rhine comp here.
Yeah, which this is the right choice at this point for Omura, but this means you have to be able to take a quick fight. But it might be a little more difficult when the City Rush going to come out to try to start things out, and right now you're Sojourn in a really bad position. The dash through going to get them super low. Going to try to commit the overclock to make something happen, but not going to find any precedence on that. Omura, though, trading things out right now. We are in the 4v4 scenario. Just trying to make sure you can keep your Rhino for as long as you possibly can. You start losing this fight, it's going to start slipping away faster than you can believe. And Phantom Win have already pushed this point up incredibly far without much of a fight for Omura either, as we're to see Savvy the next one to drop. You can kind of see the Rhine trying to go through, blocking Shatter, and well, that's really nice. You need to try to get your own Shatter online. You're getting so close to it, but you're just trying to stay alive as long as you can. Try to find it. You get to 99. You don't quite get it on time. Omura Esports not able to stop the fire. That is the DPS of Phantom Win. Eventually going to get the last couple cleanup kills. Phantom Win having no problem securing Hollywood and bringing us to match point.
No, and as we can see, Phantom Win just played to their advantages pretty well, taking on this early 2-0 lead. But even though things look gloom for Omura right now, it's totally far from over. Omura can definitely come back and reverse sweep and get into the championship bracket. But we'll see if their map pick will enable them to do so.
Yeah, it's not out of the question whatsoever, because at the end of the day, the match isn't over until we see, the 3 wins on the screen. Every team always has the ability to come back. We've seen massive comebacks from teams in the past and the very, very near past as well. So, like I said, doesn't mean you should tune out. Hey, stay around. This could turn around. I think it could turn around. Omura has shown like moments where they can be very good. Like we saw out the gate over on Nepal. They took a round there, which means they have the ability to beat Phantom Wind. That Phantom Wind is not invincible. Even just without round wins or anything else,
we can see there's a lot of moments where they're just able to play very well. And honestly, it's yeah, and honestly, they just have to continue playing to their advantages and keep on winning. Just simple strat.
Yeah, it's simple at the end of the day, but we're going to have to see if they're going to be able to do that, because we're going to take a quick little halftime break, make sure these players have their hydration, make sure they're ready for our third map. So make sure to stick around to see if we manage to close things out on the 3-0, or maybe, just maybe, Omura Esports have a little bit more fight in them. We'll see you here in a few. Phantom wins so far, putting in a dominant display so far in the matchup. Only one map away from securing their spot in the championship bracket, but one team still stands in their way. Omura Esports is fighting for their lives, trying to commit to the reverse sweep. Welcome back, everybody. We are back from the hat time. Phantom win up 2-0 over Omura Esports, and kind of talked about it a little bit before the break. You know, we don't really want to see the 3-0 sweep here right now. So the question we're going to kind of boggle around with for the next couple of minutes is, what does Omura Esports have to do to bring themselves back into this series? And winning and clicking heads, yes, that is part of the answer, but I think there's a little more intricate answers than that.
Yeah, no, more just a fun response. But you know, obviously, you know, we have to shoot more, heal more, you know, do more stuff. No, but honestly, from what it looks like, it honestly just looks like more positioning, and I feel like Omura needs to make sure they utilize high grounds and positional advantages more, because especially on Hollywood's second point, you see that they're holding that corner when they could have their Rissa up on high grounds and be able to have a greater span of control. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, and I'm kind of hoping it's kind of what we see here, because, you know, when we go into a map like Flashpoint, like regardless if it's New Junk City or Sariff, like both function in a very similar manner. So this is going to be, you know, oh, we do have a pick. Great, it's going to be Sariff, which is not surprising in the slightest. 90% of the teams, whether it is a match, whether it is scrim, they love to run Sariff. Why? Because people hate New Junk City for some reason, and maybe that's because this Sigma comp isn't quite as good on New Junk City, and it's very preferable here on Sariff.
Well, in my opinion, it's mostly due to the fact that you can really commit to Well, I think one is just aesthetics more, because I think that people really appreciate the is it Indian? Yeah, Indian. Yeah, the Indian style more than the Junkertown style. And two, I find it a lot more fun because of all the little high and positional advantages you can smell, for sure.
I kind of agree with you there. I'm unfortunately the Rhine diehard that loves to see Rhine come out, and New Junk City is kind of like the one map where it's like, you know, hey, maybe you could try to force it.
Going in
Saraff
10.
Not quite as much, especially with that first point. I think the signal count was just indefinitely better than the Rhine style. It could run a resave.
Going in
wanted to.
3,
It could run a
2,
Ramasha, but again,
1.
this is the meta with
Transition.
you know,
I'll get full screen up.
Yeah. Well, I do gotta say the. Ooh,
Oh wait, I gotta switch screens.
caster curse.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so
No,
happy that I'm
but
being wrong now.
seriously, in my opinion, the MVP of Flashpoint maps is Lucio, because you just need to be able to reposition quickly once you take a or moving to another point. And Flashpoint is a very dynamic and fluid.
So we're going to see right now a bit of a different kind of compositional matchup between these teams. Phantom Wind is going to try to take these fights a little bit, I wouldn't say quicker necessarily. Phantom Wind just has the ability to set up more angles, because we're definitely going to see Andrew be setting up over on the side with that soldier more than likely. Phantom Wind, though, has the ability to take that slightly quicker fight. If they hit a good knife here, it could be the difference between a won and lost fight. So with that wall out, it's going to be hard for them to be able to stop the damage, not really finding anything over on the knife. Right now, it's just kind of Omura that has this advantage on the point. The shout going to come through, trying to slice through everybody they can, but right now eventually going to burn away at Davion. Omura Esports going to be able to secure this first point here. Phantom Wind likely just going to have to try to escape with their lives while they have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and we can see that Junker Queen just gets eaten alive inside of that. Especially once you wall her off and just essentially free firing her without any support from their sports. And so we do see Phantom Wind swapping over to the right, trying to copy Omura.
Yeah, honestly, it's the correct choice at this point. Like, going into the Rhine, like, with a Junk Queen is extremely difficult if you don't have the necessary damage to do so. And when you have that Soldier and the Genji, it's not quite enough. So right now, going to match that Rhine, going to try to rush in, find somebody off on the side. But right now, Omura has the ability to set up on the window. Sav managing to get a good window as well. The Mortality Field eventually going to be forced out. Davian going to abandon the high ground. And right now, again, Phantom Wind just gonna have to try to back out, try to make sure they don't lose anyone more. But actually, Andrew actually going to be the one to drop. But I think with that pick onto Davian, Omura Esports should be able to secure this first point without issue.
Yeah, and there it was just Omura able to secure positional advantage over Phantom Wind a lot better, especially with forcing that Rhine off the point and out of range of his healers.
Yep, so now we are going to see the point swap over as Omura Esports actually gonna have this is a weird little advantage you get sometimes, because this map does have its slight bit of RNG. So we are actually going to see Omura be able to set up on this point first and foremost. Despite winning the previous fight, usually, you know, you have the advantage sometimes as the losing team to set up, but it's working out really well for Omura, and they have all 5 ults to expend on this fight. So your biggest thing is just trying to shut down this Dragon Blade, and a good way to do that is to set up the Shatter with the Visor. Using the 2 ultimates in turn, Phantom Wind getting shut down right there. Omura really making it pay off, but my biggest issue is Omura Esports had 5 checkmarks 10 seconds ago, and now they've only got 1.
Yeah, I can probably tell in the comms they were thinking of the plan, but then everyone seemed to get a little bit Q happy, you know? And I'm not sure that might play out into their favor here, especially with Phantom coming up with their own beats and Shatter here.
Yeah, but they are going to have the free still, so this could be the big massive thing. And that pin, though, going to shut that down for the moment. Going to end up losing their Symmetra. Going to do their best to be able to try to keep up Davion, but it's not enough. Omura Esports, I don't know. I think they might have turned down their monitors after the second map, because right now, they're playing lights out.
Oh, come on. Don't be that brutal. Oh, the map being staggered late. Oh man, ramping up the caster toxicity. All right. No, but surprisingly, Omura only needing the Blizzard to come out on top against Phantom Wind there, and Phantom Wind may not have planned to attempt to get that aggressive onto their teleport.
Yeah, so now 90% and counting, likely going to set up the teleport onto point. It's going to be on the side, actually. It's set up in a really good spot, but they're not going to be able to take it. So they're just going to have to touch the point naturally right now. Getting close to that shadow right now. Going to try to burn away that shield, and then with that shield getting super low, it's just one shadow that can be the difference between this. And they're actually going to shatter on the side, and the point touch isn't going to come through. This fight still matters a little bit, but now that point is just secured for Omura. Now up 2-0 so far here on Sarabasa, going to set up on the third. It could make this a really quick flashpoint. Oh,
Yeah, and yeah, and the point being that close is definitely an advantage to Omura right there, and was able to clean them up and get them onto the late spawn. And so we're likely going to see Omura cap first.
Yep, so now Omura is still going to have 3 different ultimates, especially multiple support ults going to be very handy. Likely to use that window as soon as they pop past right there over there on the wall, but not going to have the opportunity to use it. It's like there was a moment of hesitation, so Lazy Turtle going to find the pick. They're going to try to secure more. Sav is the person that needed to find no more wall, no way to protect your Reinhardt. Eventually, Phantom Wind finally going to secure themselves a fight and going to secure the opening cap here on point 3.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing that'll kill a team is hesitation with your plans and ults. Because if you hesitate even for a millisecond, like a few milliseconds is a long time in a match. And hesitation leads you to overthink and not gonna win because of that.
So now Phantom Wind have a lot of ultimates on their tail. They do have the ability to use as much as they want to use, but they don't want to make the same mistake that Omura ends up making, losing too many. As we see 2 come out to be able to start things out, and right now Omura just going to hide behind the wall for the time being. You have no reason to pop out of this. You have no reason. But Andrew decided, hey, let's pop that corner for a moment. Let's see what happens. The gamble has been made. The gamble does not pay off, but we are going to see a freeze come in a 3v5 scenario. It's not going to find a single person, so now Omura Esports gonna be really tough for them to touch this point again. If I am in their situation, I think I just want to try to set up for the next one.
Much obliged.
Yeah, at this point, it might just be more advantageous to just set up and go to the right side of the map and just see where it is.
Well, they're not listening to
What
us.
we do see?
We're not in the comms anymore. Which they're not even get the touch either.
Oh yeah, that's unfortunate. They may lose this fight, but oh, never mind.
Ooh, no, never mind.
No, they're going for it. Yeah.
I mean, at that point, you might as well fully commit. You already missed it.
Yeah.
You might as well, let's try to get all the picks we can, which it does work out for them. So, you know, they are going to. Oh no, they can't even set up.
Oh yeah, they might be a little bit far, but both teams are probably gonna either meet in the middle or go out to Temple.
Yeah, but look how far behind Sav is right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All the way down there.
Oh, but we'll see. Phantom Wind definitely has the advantage going into it. And they're likely going to use their splits and shatter pretty effectively.
Yeah, likely going to use that wall right here as soon as they engage. We're going to see Omura try to claim onto the point. The shatter could just be the end of things right now, but with that out, it's going to be really tough to try to survive. Omura's big thing is going to be trying to survive. The Beat going to survive, able to do so. Going to send to the shatter, finds 3 different people. Gonna secure them that fight win. Getting a little excited there on it as Davian ends up picking up a 3K of their own with the final blows. Phantom Wind expending the correct ultimates, winning themselves a nice fight to start out this 4th point.
Yeah, and if I was Omura there, I would have definitely tried to push in, tried to force Beat a little bit, and see what we can get out, because there's no way you're winning that fight.
Now we're going to see them set up. They're still going to have this window. Their own shadow still secure to them as well, but Phantom Wind all support ultimates to their name. Lazy Turtle's Beat could be the difference between the shatter meaning a lot or very little, but getting rid of the BAB is a great way to start things out. Lazy Turtle still going to commit onto this fight, eventually just going to be taken out by Andrew. The pin on the side, going to push away your Symmetra. Put up your shield, big guy. I don't think you want to try to run into a Symmetra without a shield, so now just going to keep burning away little by little. Viavino just going to be dying on this point now, going to secure them up to 74 percentage. That is enough for 1 fight territory. Omura Esports, though, gonna have the chance to secure themselves this map. Just gotta hold on for 2 more fights.
Exactly, and coming in with their shatter, they'll just have to play that with extreme precision here, as the BAP has the window and can really take advantage of the space it creates there.
So we're gonna see likely gonna be setting up the same exact way. Yep, likely to be going forward. Likely Andrew gonna be pushing up on the side. We're actually gonna see that come through. Oh, you madman! Oh, they did see it coming. The pin comes through, but now that's gonna spell the end for Phantom Win on this fight. And now Omura Esports one fight away after that clever play from Choco. Just already set up, knew exactly where they wanted to go.
I didn't know they added the spy into Overwatch. What's the instant kill with the headshot hammer? Oh, that definitely has to hurt. Not seeing a Reinhardt as he turned the corner.
Yeah. But now it's coming out to this final fight. The biggest thing right now is Sava being able to potentially get that freeze online. If we're going to see that come through, they might have to abandon point for a moment. We're going to see that freeze come out, catching multiple people. As a matter of fact, but Andrew's still going to be the first one to drop. Phantom Win, a big ability to win this fight. Omura Esports in a really tough scenario. As you're actually going to see Choco pin in, they decided where they're going to take the expressway back over to the spawn room. Omura Esports need a very quick reset, as the Lucio getting out does give them a very small possibility of trying to recontest, but again, this is another scenario where they just have to abandon and set up for that 5th and final point.
Honestly, yeah, I would just start running over to the last point and just getting ready to go onto it and using your beat advantage to secure another fight.
Yeah. Now Phantom Win have the ability to set up on this point without any issue. See Andrew kind of bringing around, trying to see if they can find the opportunity to find a pick, but it's just not going to be given to them. So now Omura has to walk into this Rhine Shatter. You have the beat still. You're going to have the window on top of it, but you have to use this effectively, because if it's anything like the shadows we've seen so far, Davian, they know how to hit them. They know how to get multiple people with it. So open up this fight, and we're just the beat coming aggressively. Actually, we see them do this before. We saw the shatter come through last time, and it comes through once again. Davian gonna find one of their own, just slamming through the competition. A 3K to their name, looking for the 4. They get 4 to their own. Unfortunately, stolen by the turret on the 5th, but still, it's exactly what Phantom Win wanted in that fight.
Exactly, and that's just why it's powerful. And they're actually going Orisa now, it looks like. For this next fight.
I don't dislike it, because I think you're at a point where you realize like you can't take that Ryan 1v1 anymore, so I support the choice overall. The biggest thing though is that, you know, you have to make this fight right here happen. It's going to be so tough to come back if you don't win this fight coming up here, because you're likely going to invest your last 2 ultimates into this fight. Likely to see the window come down here in the center. Going to come through the visor on the side from Andrew, managing to find the lazy turtle to start things out here, and now that is going to be spelling the beginning of the end on this fight. Phantom Win just going to try to get a little bit more stall for as long as they can. Going to try to set themselves into that 1-fight territory. Likely going to do so. It's ticking up, but it is going to get up to that 74% once more. So Omura Esports with their lives on the line here. Phantom Win within that 1-fight territory. Omura needs to hold strong here.
Yes, this is make or break territory for Omura right here. They need to be able to hold out for at least 2 more fights in order to win this. And already they're coming in with an ult disadvantage with the Lucio having beat and Soldier close to visor again.
Yeah, and the wall's almost online as well. This is going to be really tough for Omura. The window going to come out first to be able to try to secure things on here. Got a pressure over on the side. The beat going to come out as well. Eventually you're going to get ran down on the Ana, and now you come through. This is the final moment. You need to make it happen, Choco. They're trying to find something. They managed to get rid of the Symmetra, but now you need to be able to survive for as long as you possibly can. On the point, Davian still dealing out a lot of damage, just trying to stall that out for as long as they possibly can. And now, if you're on the side of Omura, you need to die now or get out, because it's 75% and counting, and you've lost 2 people super late into the engagement. Phantom Win so close to securing the win.
And we're gonna, and all right now, it's gonna be fall into Spell's shoulders. See if they can get the touch before it takes down. And that's the game. Phantom Win takes the W over Omura Esports.
And man, you feel for Omura Esports
Also
team swinging out the gate. Those first 2 points, they played near perfectly. They set up all these, like, you know, unique plays. They knew exactly how to play that Ryan-style comp, and they seemed quite comfortable on it. But there these moments like this, where, like, the shatter could have been preventable. They could have just waited that out the extra couple of ticks. And, you know, let them just tick up a little bit more and take a more reasonable fight. But unfortunately, you know, these are the choices that you make during game. You know, hindsight's 20/20, but.
And I do think that the swap off to Lucio was not the best, because I think they could have definitely built another beat at the time and during that fight, and may have been able to sustain themselves to actually win, you know?
Yeah, even on top
But
of that,
it's-
like, what?
It's just moments like that where there's definitely felt like there was a sense of needing to do more, and definitely going with something that you're more comfortable on, but maybe not at the best for the team as a whole.
Yeah, and it's especially where it's like, I can understand a little bit if it's like you're on 3rd-point defense, you have a bit of time before the cart gets there. That's understandable, but you're on a point like or on a map like Sariff where the rotation to the point, the amount of time it takes can be very long, especially when you don't have the Lucio. You kind of think in your mind, what happens if they get to that fight faster and lose it a little faster? What happens if they have that extra 10% to work with to get back to the point? Could we have seen another fight? Would they have had one more opportunity? That's something that we're just never going to know.
Yeah, exactly. But still, a very strong game from Phantom Wind, being able to come back in and just reinstate themselves. Yep.
Yep, it's a good win for them. They secure the spot into the championship bracket. They will be chosen by a team later on tonight. That won't be, seen by us, but we will eventually have the brackets posted up, and you'll be able to see them during all the matches next week, as well as we kind of see Omura, who, like we said, they had that dog in them. They pulled things out when they needed to. They kept it close in quite a few encounters, but it's very clear, like, all the experience that we kind of had from a team like Phantom Wind. This is a team that only lost 2 matches, up until getting into these knockouts. So this is clearly a very strong team that knows what they want to do, and now they're going to have the opportunity to really show their stuff here in the championship bracket.
Exactly. And exactly, and they'll just find, and hopefully they'll find a way to ride the wind into the sunset.
I definitely hope so, but we're gonna figure out what those brackets are later on. But for us this week, that is going to be it. But make sure you come around, because we're gonna have the quarterfinals for all of the tiers next week, and we'll find out what those matches are here in a couple of days. But for the time being, the time, the place, so make sure you're there next week. So everyone, have yourselves a great weekend, and we'll catch you all next time. Take care.